As predicted, the Republicans are going to try banning guns in a very specific way, which is really, really messed up. User Stay Mellow put me onto this. Basically, after that shooting, which ended up being a transgender woman shooting a church, which, like, come on, please, why the fuck? But anyway, that actually put on Republicans to mass shootings. They finally acknowledged that these are a thing. Because, of course, their greatest villain demographic hurt their greatest ally demographic, and that's really the only reason. But now there's a guy pushing his Project Gideon, which will skim the internet using AI, of course, to find people who fit the profile and preemptively go after them or, ban them from arms ownership. Scariest thing about this whole thing is, of course, the Democrats are going to go along with it. They don't care how it happens. They'll accept it despite the possible consequences. To anyone paying attention, though, we know how messed up this is, because if it's coming from right-wing people, it's going to filter out for left-wing beliefs, and those types of demographics are the ones that typically fall under. And as we've seen with these types of initiatives before, there's nobody looking. There's nobody actually screening. It's just algorithms putting stuff together. And they might be pretty good at it, but they're going to catch a lot of, false positives. But I'll say this much. If you recognize the danger of this current situation and you are for confiscation of firearms, you are fucking delusional.
Ooh, MAGA, they're priming you to take your guns away, and you don't even see it. So let me tell you how. So today on Fox News, they said that they finally said, yes, we have a gun problem, and it usually is the white men. It's the white men that give us the gun problems. But what they added in after that, just sneakily added in, was we're going to be forced here now to choose between freedom and protecting our children. That's because they're priming you to have to give up your guns while simultaneously sending in military who are carrying guns now, like in Washington, D.C., with live ammo. They're just slowly putting them in, and then they'll be taking them away from you. And so now they're starting the narrative. Choose between your children and your freedom, your children or your freedom. And so that you will gladly say, I choose my child, and you will give up your guns. They will be able to take your Second Amendment freedoms away because they're priming you for it. When they say it enough, you believe it. That's all they ever have to do. So it's not us that's going to be taking the guns away. It's the man and the party that you support and that you put into power that's going to take your guns away.
How can we prevent this? How can we stop it? And the only way to stop it is to identify the shooter ahead of time or keep the weapons out of their hands. And so we're going to have a conversation of freedom versus protecting children. I mean, how many school shootings does it take before we're going to have a conversation about keeping firearms out? It's always a young white male, almost always. I mean, did anyone this morning think, I wonder if that was a female? Did any of y'all think that? I mean, there's been one school shooting involving a female.
It was in Tennessee.
One. Yeah, Tennessee. But other than that, it is usually young white males.
Thing we do know, the common denominator in all this are guns. Now, I'm not a big guy that says, I'm not a big mouth about guns this or guns that, but at some level, the sanctity and the misapplication of the Second Amendment can't supersede every conversation about the lives of our kids, the lives of our family members. My kids go to a church-affiliated school, and the first day of school is in a week. I can't imagine at chapel something like this happening. I wouldn't want this to happen to anyone. The common denominator in everyone is not a transgender. It's not a this or that. It's a gun.
Correct. I am now about to launch Gideon, America's first ever AI threat detection platform built specifically for law enforcement. It scrapes the internet 24/7 using an Israeli-grade ontology to pull specific threat language and then routes it to local law enforcement. It's a 24/7 detective. It never sleeps, and it's going to get us in front of these attacks.
Would it have picked up on this, do you think?
100%. I wish my program would already be up. We're not launching until next week. I've got a dozen agencies on board, Trace. I just unloaded a major Northeast agency with over 2,700 sworn. This is America's early warning system.
Ooh, MAGA, this is bad. Trump's coming for your guns. He's coming for your Second Amendment. He posted this morning, the incompetent mayor of Chicago just stated that in D.C., where crime has been brought down to almost nothing, there have been no murders in 9 9 days, something which hasn't happened in years, and people are safe again, only 9 people have been arrested. That is wrong. Hundreds of criminals have been held, which is not arrested, captured, which is not arrested, and arrested, which is arrested, and their guns have been taken away. DC is safe and booming. Now I'm imagining you're thinking, well, that's okay because I'm not a criminal. Right now, things like having a parking ticket or being late on your child support or filing your taxes late or coming into this country illegally, things that used to be civil offenses, at least some of them, you might be able to pick up which one that I'm talking about, are now considered like criminal acts. And so anything that you might have that's civil will eventually become criminal. When you're a criminal because you have a parking ticket, yeah, they're going to take your guns away.
We are going to bring in something called the Gun Violence Restraining Order. So if someone is civilly committed, typically you can hold them for up to 72 hours, but people are getting out within 24 hours, the majority of them. So what we want to do is let law enforcement come in and take the guns.
Good.
They're a danger to themselves
Which you can't
or
do
others.
right now.
Well, because without being adjudicated. So because they're a danger to themselves.
You want them to take the guns and
when they are
not go
committed.
through 6 months of legal trials and everything else,
Exactly,
which is-
but we
okay.
also have to give the mentally ill the due process in which they deserve, President. So what we're doing is they're going to be able to take the guns when they're taken into custody or into the hospital, and then when they're released within 24 hours or 72 hours later, typically it's 24 hours, but law enforcement will have 72 hours to determine whether they should give those guns back or they can go to a judge and say, Your Honor, please keep these guns. We feel this person is still a danger to himself or others, whether
So
they're
this
in or
would
out
not
of
have
custody.
worked the way it's currently constituted. This would not have worked with Cruz as it's currently constituted.
As it's currently written.
So you're going to make changes?
We're going to make changes.
Allow due process, so no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
We think about